What is up, my people? Good morning. And today I'm going to cover a subject that I see a lot in basehead groups on Facebook, and there's so much misinformation out there. It is unreal on this subject, and I figured I could add more insight on it and go a little more in depth in it and just kind of give y'all the actual facts on this subject. So today we're gonna talk about wiring. Yes, sir, wiring. And we're just gonna ignore the fact that I'm team no fuse. I mean, guys, these runs are short enough that I don't even have a place back here to put a fuse holder. I mean, I'm fused on my runs from front to back. I don't have a battery under the hood, so I got 2 fuses under the hood, 2 back here, and that's kind of my fuse right there, them cutters. If I have a problem, we're just gonna cut it. But yeah, we're gonna talk about wiring, and not just particularly this wiring. This is Down for Sound Superflex. Basically, it's the same wire as Sky High. It just has the Down for Sound logo on it. I prefer to support JP than Sky High, so it's my thing. Support who you want, guys, but pretty much all my wiring is that right there. But yeah, let's get into this discussion. All right, guys, let's get back into this discussion. And the discussion is honestly CCA versus OFC. And God, I see so much misinformation. I see that CCA, a melt burn your car down. I see that you're gonna clamp more power with OFC, that you can't get loud with CCA, and all of them are untrue. I mean, honestly, when I first built the old shit box here, I kind of built it on a budget, and all I had at the time was the good old CCA from New Concepts. And I mean, even when you buy from New Concepts, if you look at the description of the wiring, it'll tell you how many amp and volt that size wire can handle at a certain foot level. And yeah, I saw the test that Steve Mead did with a single piece of CCA versus OFC, and honestly, the test results would have been way different if he would have done 2 pieces of each wire, because then the CCA, he would have had enough wire to carry that amperage. And that's what it boils down to, is, are you wired specifically for the application? And that's what really matters. So, with that being said, like I said, I had all CCA in the old shit box here, and I'm like, yeah, I want to get louder. I'm gonna, turn around, and I ordered all OFC. At the time, it was mostly welding cable, but it was 2-aught OFC to replace my 1-aught CCA. And I did the same amount of runs of OFC that I had CCA. And like I said, I had wired for my alternator amperage under the hood on the runs going back. Actually, I had overkill, which you should always do, overkill. And I had dual inputs on my amp, so them short runs from the battery to the amplifiers, they were like doubled up, with dual inputs on all my amps. So, broke out the old term lab. We metered the shit box. Back then, it was doing like 62s. I recorded all my scores. Swapped this bad boy over to all OFC. Went back, remetered, and I gained nothing, guys. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Zitch. Nada. Nothing. I gained absolutely nothing. Is OFC a little better wire? Absolutely, You're just getting better quality all the way around. Can you get loud with CCA? Absolutely. CCA will suit all your needs. If you actually do the math and wire for the amperage, or a little, definitely go overkill. Always, even on OFC, go overkill, because we're baseheads. We upgrade no matter what. But yeah, it'll work. There are some downfalls. I mean, you're going to get corrosion with each kind of wire that you run. I think it is a little worse with CCA. But an easy way to combat that, when you make the wire and you crimp the end on, use good heat shrink. heat shrink it up, it'll last for years. I mean, I didn't have no problem at all with the wiring that I ran in here. But I did, you know, I had heat shrink and good lugs on it and everything. And that's what it all boils down to. So, you know, I've come to the realization when you're on Facebook groups, man, don't believe 90% of what you see on there.
Never.
Like, for real. Never believe half of what you see in Facebook groups. I mean, I go through the groups and there is so much misinformation on there that it is unreal. And even, you know, sticking to the CCA versus OFC thing. Drew Jones. Everybody knows Drew Jones. How he's designed half of you guys' enclosures. He's got another build that was doing, you know, up in the 60s on CCA. And when all these people are like, you're going to burn your car down, blah, blah, blah. Drew would chime in, I would chime in. And it's like everybody wanted to just scroll right past our comments or not even pay attention to them because the masses in the groups were telling them CCA was shit and you can't get loud with it. Pulling up the Steve Meade video and simply not wanting to listen to the two guys in the group that had experience, done the testing, were proving all the comments wrong. Nobody wanted to listen. And that's a huge problem in most of the car audio groups on Facebook is there's just tons of misinformation. I mean, look how many people, I mean, it's still huge. Tar amps. Everybody's like, tar amps to burn your car down. They'll just randomly catch on fire and explode. I mean, it's happened a couple times. It can happen with any amp. It's happened with SFBs. I mean, the sundown amps, because they're cheaper amps. People want to budget buy them, and they're like, I'm just going to throw this extra old car battery in the trunk and hook this 8,000 watt amp up to it and a half wore out lead acid battery under the hood, and they turn it up, it clips a couple times, and poof. Or they try to run it off 4 gauge, you know, 4 gauge from the front battery. I've seen that happen. You're going to run an 8,000 watt amp off of a piece of CCA 4 gauge, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to do the quick video kind of going over that. I'm trying to really help the noobs out and give people an understanding of what's right, what's wrong, and how things work to the best of my knowledge. And like I said, you can watch the Steve Meade video where he does test OFC and CCA, and I honestly believe the amp that he was using, it was definitely pulling too much current for the CCA. It was reaching the CCA's potential, because if you look at the specs on the wiring, a 20-foot piece of OFC 1/0 versus a 20-foot piece of CCA 1/0, the OFC is going to handle more current. And that's the whole point of this video. The OFC will handle more current. That's why when you use CCA, you need to do the math on it. See how much amperage that wire handles at a certain foot level. Do your math. And a good rule of thumb is always double it up. You double it up, you shouldn't have any problems. And it's like, I see people at shows that'll have 6 runs of positive OFC 1/0 car audio wire ran from front to back, and all they got under the hood is 2 alternators. That is definitely overkill and unnecessary. I have like a 370 that Autotech Engineering alternator that actually, the paperwork that came with it, it put out like 398 amps. I have a Brand X 320. I didn't get shit with it. I'm assuming it's going to do 320 though. But, you know, there you're at like, let's say, just to be safe, 750 amps. Let's be safe and say 750 amps. That's overshooting a little bit. So we can round that up to 800 amps. I got 2 pieces of OFC run through here that handle double 750, you know, because I ain't even at a 20-foot run. That is plenty. I'm over amped on my wiring. Would I gain anything adding 2 more pieces of 2/0 from front to back? Probably not, because the wiring I have in here now handles the amperage just fine. There's no need to, add anymore. So there's that. I mean, you don't need all that wiring as long as you do your math and come up with what you need. Like in the wife's Blazer that I built, I have one run of positive, one round of negative going from under the hood to the back. It's 4-aught OFC. I run a piece of 4-aught positive, 4-aught negative. I plan on adding a second alternator. And I think the research I did on it, it handles 600 amps safely at 50 feet. 600 amps at 50 feet. So, God, I'm not even at, I think the run going through the car is about 13 feet maybe. So, once you break down all that math, she's wired safely to about 1,000 amps. I mean, think about it, 1,000 amps. So that would be roughly 3 alternators. I plan on putting a second on, probably another 320. We're never gonna reach that 1,000 amp capability. So, guys, this little insight today. Some of you might not agree with what I'm saying, but just do the math on it. Look at good reputable wire brands like New Concepts. Actually, they make really good product at not a super expensive price. Their RCAs, I had their RCAs in here. I believe they were $8. $8 RCAs. They're still good. I've got a set in my daughter's Jeep. And when I pulled those out of here, which I used them for 1.5 years in here, I replaced them with full tilt. Full tilt. Very expensive, nice RCAs. And I've had the full tilt in here about 1 year now, and I've had to replace 4 sets already. Just because I don't know what happens to them. They're nicer. They look prettier. The New Concepts were like way better and way cheaper. But yeah, New Concepts, their power wire, if you look down to the very bottom in all the description, it'll give you like a diagram, a chart of footage versus amperage and voltage. Just go by that, check it out, do your math. I hope this helps somebody, man. If you like my content I have on here, like, subscribe, help a brother out. I'm just trying to reach more people on here and kind of get my YouTube platform growing. But everybody have a great day. Today is Wednesday. So we're heading out to the Sundown Show day after tomorrow. So today's going to be my last day of work for vacation time. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. But I'm going to spend tomorrow doing some last minute cleaning and everything on the old ship box. Change oil again. I changed oil in it Sunday, but the oil I put in, it's making me run like 15 degrees hotter. So I got to find Rotella and go back to that. But everybody, I hope to see you at the Sundown Show.